me this morning is Richard Herbert, who is both a member of the 8am congregation at St Christopher's and also Richard, the Working Bee Coordinator for the Friends of Tawa Bush. And I wondered if you could just begin our chat this morning by telling us about how you became involved with Friends of Tawa Bush and what it is and what it does.
Yeah, thanks Mark for this opportunity. In the late 1990s, there was an issue with, we mentioned the Larsen Crescent Reserve, which was just behind our property. And we're a group of near neighbours to that reserve had developed a campaign to try and save it from developers. Yeah, a chap had bought that lovely forest and was planning to make some clearances in it for essentially lifestyle type houses, but within the wider urban area. So there was a campaign to save that forest, and yeah, that worked through the Environmental Court, I believe, and Wellington City Council actually supported it, and Forest and Bird supported it, and Wellington Botanical Society supported saving the forest. And so eventually Wellington City Council bought out the developer, preserved the main forest remnant, which we still have today, thankfully. So that sort of piqued my interest in the bush, and because we're living reasonably close. From that, a bit later in 2002, the actual organisation Friends of Tawa Bush Reserves Incorporated was started, and their scope from then expanded somewhat to include other reserves, Wellington Council reserves around the Tawa suburb area.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, were you, before that whole incident with the Larsen Crescent Reserve, were you kind of like a self-identifying greenie already, or were you somebody who just sort of slid into environmental care through what was on your back doorstep?
Yeah, it's probably more the latter. I don't think I remember being very proactively greenie up until that point. Even today I wouldn't necessarily say I was a particularly dead in the ditch greenie, but I'm certainly passionate about doing what we can to save our planet. It's the only one we've got. It's our home in life, and I think we owe it to future generations that we try and leave it in a better condition in which we found it, really.
Yeah, right.
And there's some truly devastating things going on around the world that appalls me, but you can only do what you can do.
In terms of the membership of Friends of Tawa Bush, can you tell us a little bit about that? Who belongs?
Quite a wide range of people. The organisation's been going 20 years now, so a lot of the members that were around in the early days have now matured, got a lot older, become, as a result, less active. Some have moved away to other retirement places, and unfortunately a few have passed. So
we had Gil Roper's funeral here just the year before last.
Just one, yeah. And Fraser Jackson, another early president of the society, has also passed. And, and Alan Todd, these are people that in their time, did a lot for Tawa, but now passed. So we're moving on to the next generations, and as a consequence, along with a lot of organisations, average age is getting up there, and we're trying to recruit younger people. And I'm not sure you're aware of the Kete group, the Kids and Hunting
Tawa schools,
Tawa ecosystems. Yeah, so that's run through the schools of Tawa, a fantastic project, if you like, a program. And through that, we're getting more younger people involved in our environment and with planting trees and such like. And hopefully, as time goes on, some of them will move into supporting Friends of Tawa Bush Reserves as well, or get their parents involved.
Right. So it'd be quite good to see a bit of an influx of some younger members, would it?
Exactly.
We're coming up to Matariki next week. What's Friends of Tawa Bush doing? Because right now is planting time, isn't it, for the organisation?
Yes, planting is always the winter months, and that season is particularly because the trees are less active in their growing state, so they get less damage when they're moved around and rehomed, if you like, from a pot into the ground. So that's the reason we plant in winter.
And so Sunday, a week and a half ago, was a big planting down at Takapū Road. 1,000 trees, 50 or so volunteers from Friends of Tower Bush, plus Rotary, plus Wellington Girls College, I think it was. This coming Tuesday, can you tell us about what's happening there?
Next Tuesday, we're aiming to plant a Caribbean reserve, which is a new reserve for us, but held by the Wellington City Council. It extends from Granada North up to the ridgeline at Hoakiri. It's going to take us many years to fully plant that. In some areas near the tracks will continue to, Wellington City Council is keen to keep some grassy areas as well.
Okay, sure. In Psalm 96 we read, "Let the heavens be glad and let the earth rejoice. Let the sea roar and all that fills it. Let the field exult and everything in it. Then shall all the trees of the forest sing for joy before the Lord, for he is coming to judge the earth." This is one of many passages, Richard, in Scripture in which the glory of creation is affirmed, and yet the church has sometimes been a bit late to the party when it comes to creation care. I wonder if you've got any thoughts about the role of the church in looking after local environments.
There was a time when Julie was here that I think it was Bishop Justin put out the word that the church should be planting more trees.
Yes.
And maybe that was 8 or 10 years ago.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, and we did then have a couple of annual planting days as well, again at Willowbank Reserve.
So there's one of those coming up, Richard, isn't there, on the 13th of July, which is a Saturday morning, starting at 9:30. Yep. The Willowbank Reserve Care Group, which is a slightly different organisation from the Friends of Tower Bush, I think, but certainly adjacent to it. They are having their annual planting day down at Willowbank, and in fact they've invited us again. We had a bunch of volunteers last year join them. They've invited us again to join this year. Do you want to tell us anything about what's happening there?
So yes, we have an annual planting day planned for them, as you say, July the 13th. So we're just, the other thing about the Willowbank Care Group is that they have come under the umbrella of Friends of Tower Bush Reserves for the purposes of dealing with Wellington City Council, really. So, and all the health and safety and plant procurement, other things that groups have to deal with. If you're not in a corporate society, then that's Wellington City Council make it harder to deal with.
So it's actually great for people from St Christopher's that the Willowbank Care Group's looking after all of that, and we can come and chip in if we want to. That July 13th is the middle Saturday of the school holidays. There'll be no kids' sport, no music lessons. You might just like to get down to the bucket tree 9:30 till 12:30, and if you can only make it for part of that time, they'll be very happy to receive your services for the part of that time you can make it for.
Yes, and by all means bring your family as well. There's a playground nearby if they get bored, and even eels to watch in the stream.
Absolutely. Thanks to the care of many for the local environment. Yes. Richard, thank you very much for joining me today, and it's been a real pleasure to talk, and I'm sure you won't mind if I say that if there are people in the parish who are keen to talk more about what's going on in terms of caring for the local environment, you'd be very happy to chat.
Yeah, indeed.
And there's a Facebook page, right, for Friends of Tower Bush?
Yes, we have both a Facebook page and a website. Just search for Friends of Tower Bush Reserves.
Richard, thank you.
Thank you, Mike.